Hey, it's the Chief. Bonding with Board Games, going to be talking about Mare Nostrum, a game set in the ancients, which, usually not my style, but I think this one's going to surprise you. It can handle, with the expansion, 2 to 6. The regular game is 3 to 5, and I'm going to tell you it plays probably about an hour and a half. I had one learning game go 2, but one of the guys that played with me ended up playing a 6-player game that only even took an hour and a half. So it's got a very nice kind of play set tweaked in there. Let me go in, show you how this thing runs real quick, because it's got a very nice little system that's very easy to teach right out of the box. That does not happen with a lot of ancient period settings games, but it does here. Take a look. All right, first of all, as we come in, I just want to show this map again. This concept of however many players are playing, you cover up pieces of the board, is just fantastic and works great. So with a full 5-player complement, you're going to have this all sitting off board to the side, and it looks like they're just attaching on. And then if you have just 4 players, you actually cover up, what is it? You cover up Babylon, all right? And then this comes in on the side. And if you're playing 3 players, you come in and you're covering up Babylon and Egypt. And it just works so well, and it feels so natural. Not that having those other pieces on here, if they weren't covered, doesn't still work, but the idea of actually designing these pieces so that they cover up and make the board almost more functional is just phenomenal. Now I'm going to come back to this board later, and we'll zoom in and we'll literally look at this and show you a little bit of kind of how setup works and the ease of getting into it. But I wanted to show you this rule book. Now I did an unboxing and I showed it. I always love the big splash page that kind of shows you setup. But what I learned as I went and read this is that this is a phenomenal rule book. It gives you your round overviews here, and then it simply and easily goes into each of the different rounds as you go. But the beauty of this rule book is that you're literally, and I usually don't do this, you can sit down, no one at the table needs to know it, or a couple of my games, I still used it as a reference, but it's so easy to flip this open and say, hey, I know how to play this, but I'm going to walk us through, or maybe it's our first time playing it and I've read through it, but I just want to kind of look at the rules as we go, because you're clearly going by, the round overview. You're collecting resources, then you're just trading, and it's real easy and simple. And then you're going to build. And then you're going to move in battle. And that one is probably the only complicated, but it's not really complicated area there is, only because there's a few little stages to battles if you win, in terms of pillage or occupy or control, which I'll get into later. And then there's just the claiming leadership, which is represented over here. And I'll go into some of this when I'm doing gameplay. But this was phenomenally easy to teach. What you're basically dealing with is a very simple to run system where the gameplay is complex. Now let's get into that. All right, a couple things to show. Setup is so easy, and something I didn't show, that's for the 6-player expansion. Expands up to 6, can play down to 2. One of the easiest things to do is you hand everybody, they take their race. So Rome or Carthage or Greece, and you give them their card and it matches. Okay, so we got Carthage. You simply give them their player screen, which is later on going to hide their goods, and right off the bat they've got something to do. You'll notice that this just matches the part of the board. So Carthage, this is their home area, they already have control. But what you do is, these are the resources that you're going to go collect, and I'm going to show you the box. It does real good. Sorry, I'm not getting good focus. Let me set it down. So these are the resources. That's horrible. Let me zoom in. All right, so these are the resources you're going to start with, and you'll just tell the players whatever's on the back of your player screen, collect those resources. You'll have these little tokens out in piles. Then you're going to say right here is a representation of the map, the area you're in, which is right below us here. And you're going to say you obviously have control here. This is your home territory, but you're going to want to take your control markers, which are these, and you're just going to want to take them and put them into the different areas that are displayed on the map. You're then going to want to take your a fortress, which is right here, and you're going to place a fortress here, and you're going to place a legion over here. You're going to have 2 camels, so this is a caravan. So you're going to place, now these are the tokens. I have kind of the 3D little area here, but you're going to just place the tokens onto this area, and that will claim those resources, and I'll zoom into that in a second. All right, and then the other part of your screen shows you where to take your control tokens, which are on that little board that lays on the map right off to this side, and it tells you where these little tokens are going to go. Now the blue caravans and the markets you have are going to count toward your total, but it shows you what you'll have, shows you that you'll have control of markets, and then under building it shows you I only have 1, which is actually my little home capital in Carthage, and then it shows you my combat units that I'm going to have, which is 2. So you know where to lay those out on your starting board, and your screen just allows everybody to start doing that right away. Now again, it also shows you you're in control of this building. That's your home deal. Now I have, again, the little plastic building, so that and your temple. Now I'm going to zoom in. We're going to go to the map here just because I can't, well, now I can get closer, but I can't get as close as I would like on here. So let me show you, just in Libya, if I came in and I had control of Libya, so I would have to have a control marker here. All right, if I had control and I had a caravan in here, which is the way I'm going to start, I would have these 2 caravans. What it simply means is when we go to the resource collection phase, I'm going to get 1 sheep and 1 thing of olive oil. Now here's what's nice. I will start with a market down in Libya as well, but that allows them, and you can build markets in any place where you have your caravans, that will allow me to double the resources I collect. So this can be built in, and I'll get into the costs of building and everything as you play, but for the startup, just to explain, caravans will give you the good pictured, and then markets will allow you to double those goods when it comes time to collect. And the buildings work very much the same way. Now we don't have a building here, but I don't want to move the camera again. If I'd had, well heck, let me move the camera again. Hold on. All right, it's not very far away. So if I control this building, which I do, I'm going to get a coin at the start of every resource collection phase. Now if I can build in a temple later, temple works just like the market, and I will be able to double my coins. So markets and temples will work very much the same way. You can see the borders that are going to be between the zones, and you can see the borders within the water where you'll be putting your triremes. And we'll get into that in a second as well. Now along with your starting area, all right, so again, Carthage with Hannibal is going to come, and you'll see you're going to have a hero that starts with you. So it's going to match your color, black, Hannibal. And then they're each going to have special little powers that kind of break the rules. We'll get into this a little bit later, but generally when you turn in goods, they all have to be different. He's able to double up on the same good, and you'll see what you can turn them in for in the future. For, well, right now you could turn in the future and build a camel or a caravan, and that will take 3 goods or 3 coins. Just to show you another one, I love playing Rome. Rome gets +1 on their combat die for land battles as long as they're attacking, and just kind of the reverse of that, which is very nicely displayed. Red, the blood for attack, green, more peaceful. In defense, Pericles, or the Greeks, are going to get a +2, and each of these, Egypt comes with theirs, and Babylon comes with theirs, or Babylon, sorry, all right? They each come with their starting powers. There'll also be heroes that you'll be collecting in later, and that's probably the most complicated area, and I'll come to that a little bit later, but even that's not hard. All right, real quick, looking at the leaderboard. I'll go into greater depth on this in the future, but after the setup, what you can basically see is who's going to be controlling the market phase, the building phase, and the combat phase, and that's all done based on the number of blue pieces you have, or building orangish pieces you have, or your combat pieces. And then the last little addition to this board I have empty now gives you your victory conditions over here, which I'm going to go into at the end rather than early, because it'll be much easier to understand and explain at that point in time. The building the pyramids is one of those, but you have all these heroes and famous buildings. I'm forgetting what they're called at this point in time, but they're going to be shuffled, and they'll just be placed down on every one of these spaces. Now, when you get into the advanced player stage and everybody knows exactly what they're doing, these should be face up. Then everything's face up, and everybody can buy everything. But I wanted to show you it in this phase now, because this is the hardest thing to learn in the game. Each one of these different heroes or famous buildings has a different player power that kind of breaks the rules in different ways. But it's genius in allowing you to have 5 out that are face up, because now you only need to focus on those 5 rather than all of these. And the wonderful player aid that not only walks you through the turn phases, which we're going to go through, and your victory conditions, but it's going to cover the hero powers and the descriptions of exactly what they do. And then the wonders, the wonders is what I couldn't remember before, are all listed here, and it gives you the descriptions as you go. All right, I'm going to roll through the phases of your turns real quick. And I'm telling you, these get so easy to move through as you go. It's one of the beautiful simplicities of the game. So the very first thing is you just go around and collect your resources. So you simply look and see, hey, what are my resources? If you don't have the market, which in this case is the tent here, then you only get 1. If you have the market, you're going to get 2 of those types. Some areas have 1 type of good or resource, some will have 2. I panned over a little bit, same thing go with the buildings. So you can see there's a coin next to this. If you have the main building, you're going to get a coin, so you would collect a coin at that point in time. If you've built, or you're allowed to have possession of a temple right from the get-go, it's going to double it, just like a market would get you, and you're going to get 2 coins. And all this goes behind your player screen, so nobody knows exactly what you have or how much of whatever you have. Rather than set everything out on the table, I wanted to show you real quickly. You can see all the different commodities that you have. So you can see the different types. It tells you exactly which ones are more rare, which ones are more plentiful. I always have tons of sheep. And I was the Romans once, and it just metal to start off with. And then you got your legendary commodities. Legendary commodities come in a couple different ways. One of the main ways is if you have a legendary building, you're going to see this little legendary sign over here. I'll zoom in real quick. So it's got a question mark, and it's got that same legendary little deal around the side. These are left upside down, so you only have a blank side, so you draw one of those in, so you get a coin and a legendary. You don't know what it's going to be. Could be great, could be something you already have plenty of, but that's how those work, and that's where you'll be using them. They also come in valuable in the 2-player game, but I'm not going to go into 2-player game stuff just because it modifies everything. I'll just give you some final thoughts on the 2-player later. You come into your trade resources phase, and whoever is in control of the markets, which is the Carthaginians in this case, gets control of these cool little tokens, because you're going to decide how many goods that we've all just collected. So everybody's collected in their goods. You will get to decide how many we're going to be putting in. So it could be 0 all the way up to 5, 2 to 1, and 3 to 4 if I remember right. So if I have tons and tons of goods, I may not want anybody else to have the chance to do the market, because the market allows you to say, hey, I got 3 sheep. I don't need 3 sheep, but I can trade with the market. And the way the trading goes is if I have a sheep and an iron and I've got a diamond, and we put up that, let's just say we got to trade 2. I would probably have a lot more than that. I'd have papyrus, and I might have olive oil, and I might have some gold. Well, I'm going to pick the ones that I probably have extra resources for, and I'm going to put them in front of my player screen, and they'll be upside down. Let me actually grab a couple so you can see. So I'll grab some of my resources. Now these all happen to be gladiators. Couldn't even see them, gladiators. But assume these are different. I'm going to put them down in front of my screen, and everybody's going to do the same thing. And then once we're all ready, we'll flip them up. We'll have, again, a whole list of different goods will probably be offered up. And then whoever is in control of the market again gets to go first. So I could sit there and say, all right, I want his gladiator. I take Rome's gladiator and I take it over to me, so I get that resource. And then Rome gets to go and look at all the other players and say, well, you know what? This gal over here has a diamond. I want to take her diamond. He takes her diamond, puts it in his deal. Well, then her diamond's been taken, so she gets to look around, and she might decide, well, you know what? Rome has something I need. Rome has some of this ironworks. I want to take some of their iron. She takes it. Well, now Rome gets to look around and take something else, and you'll go around like this until everybody's goods have been taken. There is a mechanic that if someone ends up kind of odd man out, there's a way that equalizes that out, but this market trading goes around, and you got to be, it's real simple, but you got to be a little cagey here, because as people get more and more diverse goods, or if you even throw some of your coin out there, you can allow people to have enough diversity that they can go in and buy one of their little buildings that they're trying to get, one of their heroes that they're trying to get, or God forbid, they're able to go in and buy the pyramid, which is, I don't have it handy, but if you ever get 12 gold or 12 coin or 12 unique goods, you can build the pyramid and automatically win. So you got to be a little bit careful as you're trading resources. But here's the beauty of it. The trading of these resources just flies around. Probably the thing that takes the longest is later on when you go and you spin these bad boys and you got to get them put back on their stacks. But that brings us right into the next phase, which is building stuff. Now again, I'm going to come in and show you, but here again you can see collect resources, trade your resources. So here's the control deal, and you're going to trade back and forth. Now you're going to come in and build, and this sheet makes it about as easy as it can get. You can spend 3 different resources, although if you're Hannibal, you can have, instead of 3 different resources, you can end up with 2 of them that are the same and then 1 oddball out. That's one of his little special rules. But if I want to buy a new control marker, so I want to end up and come in and control an adjacent province. So I want to come over and control this. I can simply spend 3 coin and I can buy, now again, I would already have this spot on setup just for showing you, but I can come in and buy this for 3, and you can put a control marker over here, and in future, or even if I have enough money, I could come in and start building a caravan. So I could put in a caravan and I could get the resource for that. So I could come in and say, well, you know what? Here's the caravan. I'm going to come in and build that, and that caravan's going to allow me to get some gold. Or I could come in and say, well, I don't want to do that, but I do want to build this temple. I hadn't built the temple yet. I want to come in and build, temple 6. See, there's the temple. Come in and build a fortress. Fortress is really cool. I get into that in battle. I could build a new legion, or I could build a trireme, and I'm going to explain those when we get into combat as well. For 6 coin or 6 unique different resources, I could build that temple. That temple is going to be the same as a market, allow me to double my coin, whereas the market's going to allow me to double the little caravan resources I've got. Or this is the part where I showed you on here, where you come over and as you build your second little hero or your next wonder, it costs 7. When you go to build your third one, it costs 8, 9. If you can get 10 coin or 10 resources, you get your 5th one and you win the game. So that's what these are showing you, and that's the build phase. The nice thing about it is whoever is in control of, can I get it? Way over here. Whoever's in control of that build phase gets to decide who's going to build first and what order you're going to build. So if I want to sit back and say, hey, is Rome going to build a bunch of legions because our next phase is going to be move and battle? And I'm Carthage and I want to build, you know, some control and a new caravan and maybe even build in a temple, but I'm really worried that Rome's going to have some aggression on me. I can make Rome go first, and if I see Rome starting to build up a bunch of legions or some triremes and putting them in the water on our borders, I'm going to change up my strategy. And instead of me expanding and upping my ability to have resources or gold, I could start laying in military units. Very, very cool. It's almost like having spies. So when you have control of the building phase, you really can kind of see what everybody's doing. Or let's say I am Rome and I want to jump off before anybody, or maybe I'm going to come in and attack Carthage. I don't want them to build up. Boom, I give myself the first turn, come across, boom, hit them, attack them, pillage, occupy, take control, whatever. I may want to go on the jump. So there's a little bit of that back and forth. And again, it's simple. There's nothing difficult about it at all. It's really, really simple. All right, and then that moves on to claiming, we got to go to move and battle. So move and battle. You can move, if I have a legion in, I can move it to an adjacent territory. Now again, let me get the right color. All right, so that one just went flying off the table. Luckily, the dog is elsewhere. All right, first of all, love the fact that Romans look like Romans. I know I don't have them painted or anything. All right, and Carthaginians look like Carthaginians. But if I wanted to move, you can move a unit to an adjacent space. Boom, just moved. All right, if I had built I built a trireme in my last turn. And if I built the trireme, we're going to put it over here. A trireme, think of it as a land bridge. It's just like a supply area. I could have a trireme here and a trireme here, and now those are adjacent. I could move into here if I wanted to, or if I had my second trireme here, I hope I'm saying that right, I can move right into here, or I can move over into Greece. So if you have and I should just grab another one, boom. So if I had that, think of them as a bridge. Whoop, you can just come right over. All right, triremes can do battle. I'll get into the battle mechanic real quick. If there was an enemy in there, I have the option of battling. Now, if you ever have the same thing happening with land units, you must battle. You've got to resolve that battle if you've got two land units, two legions in the same area. But triremes, they have the option. And what is really cool are you have unique dice to do that battle. So if you're going to do a sea battle, you're going to be rolling dice or die for every piece you have. So if it's one trireme against one trireme, we're each going to do a roll off. Battles are crazy simple. Now, first of all, the blue ones are for your sea battles. The white ones or beige ones are for your land battles, and they are important because the numbers are slightly different on your sides. I can't remember exactly. It's a little harder to roll higher on your sea dice, but it's very, very simple in your battle. Let's just take these legions that are fighting over here in Sicily. All right, when they come in and fight, for every legion you have, you're going to roll a die. So in this case, we're each just rolling one die. Now, it wouldn't matter. Rome, if they were attacking, they're going to get a +1 on their die. However, let's just say Carthaginians attacking. Now, again, if we had the green out there, the Greeks, they would get a +2 in defense. So you can see how it would matter. But it's a simple roll-off. Carthage rolls a 5, which is going to be very happy, and Rome rolls a 4. You divide your results by 5, and whatever is left, so you would have 1, meaning that Carthage is able to destroy 1 unit that they're fighting. All right, 4, they destroy none, and that unit is gone. And it just, whoop, goes away. It's a single die roll. Battles are fast, you move on. I have never seen huge battles. I've seen 3 units go in. And you add in a few cool little things like fortresses. All right, fortresses are awesome because what a fortress does is give you an automatic +5. So if I'd had a fortress in here, I would have started off with 5 + 5. I would have had 10. I would have destroyed 2 units. And let's say he had gotten a pure 5, and let's even say he was attacking, which would have been 6, still only kills 1 unit. But a fortress absorbs 1 destroyed unit, and it doesn't go away. And it also gives me the option of me picking who I want to go. So in this case, if he would have destroyed 1 unit, nothing happens. If he would have been rolling multiple dice because he had extra units in there and he destroyed 1, I could decide the legion or the fortress stays and one of my legions goes. It's a very, very nice deal to get a fortress built in. All right, let's say down in Libya, there was a little battle and Rome won. Okay, Carthage loses. The winner can pillage, occupy, or occupy even their control marker. I'm going to explain that real quick. Pillage is real simple. You don't think you're going to be able to hold this area. In other words, maybe he's real strong on either flank, and this guy's going to get destroyed. I just want to pillage. I could come in and pillage this, destroy the caravan, which costs you 6 to build. I'm not going to get anything out of it, but I did some destruction. You're not going to have your caravan. I could decide to come in and pillage your market. I could come in and pillage your caravan, in which case I'm going to steal one of those goods, destroying this unit as well, which is going to cost you 3 to rebuild later. But let's say I didn't want to pillage. I think I'm going to be able to hold this area. I could come in and I could occupy this area. As long as I have a legion occupying this caravan route, I am going to get that resource. So if this goes through and you're not able to get a legion in and knock me out, I will get this resource when we come to the resource phase. Yes, you have control. All right, if you had a caravan down here on this olive, you're still going to get the olive. Matter of fact, you're going to get 2 of them. But I'm going to get 2 of this resource. At least I think it's 2. If I had a second one, I could even occupy the caravan, and that would double my resource. So I could come in and occupy the caravan. Sorry, I just said caravan again. Then I could come in and occupy the market, and I would double. I would get 2 sheep. Or I could have occupied this caravan, and I would get a sheep, and I would get an olive. Now, if at some point I decide I want to occupy the control space, a couple things have to happen. I must have an area adjacent that I control. So I can't just tunnel into your area, have nothing adjacent, and then boom, get control. I've got to have control in an adjacent area. But if I can come in and control, place my guy on there, I can win control of that area. At the beginning of the next move and battle phase, it'll convert over to my control marker. You can do the same thing I did to the caravans and the markets. I could do to buildings and temples. Works exactly the same way, but you can never do it to a person's home space like Rome. Rome can't be occupied in this fashion, but you can do it to anything that they control. So battle, move, pillage, occupy, control, and try to flip it, and then you're going to take over that area. Again, it's very simple in principle, but boy does it get interesting as you're moving around on the board and extending your control. So you simply move up these areas in correspondence with caravans built or destroyed, or buildings built or destroyed, combat or units built. You then adjust the marker up there and go on to the beginning of the next turn, which is collecting resource. Now this is where I'm going to come to your victory locations. If at any point in time someone controls all 3 of these, they win. That's a victory. Now again, there's a little bit of a modification for a 2-player game, but that would be a victory. If they end up controlling all of these, they've won. And it would occur at the very end, just like we have here. So if this was happening and we were seeing this happen, it definitely should be the other player saying, hey, Rome is taking control. We got to stop this or this is over. That is one way to win. We've already covered that another way you can win is to build your 5th wonder or your 5th hero. And that is a little bit different, whereas this would happen at the end of that 5th phase. If you build your 5th hero, boom, at the end of the build phase, you will have won. Boom, I built it. We were building, we were getting ready for combat. Nope, I just built my 5th one. We're done, I've won. Now, if that happens to be 2 different units, so you got to go through the whole, or 2 different factions, you've got to go through that whole build phase. If 2 of us have done it, then whoever's ahead on the building track ends up being, that's like the tiebreaker. The other way to win is if you build your 4th major city or capital. So if you build 4 of these and you can hold them until the end of the move and battle phase, that's an automatic win. So in the build phase, you come in and get this build thing going. Everybody probably recognizes, whoa, he's just won. We go into our move and battle phase and everybody's trying to tear you apart. You've got to hold on. Love that. And the one that's probably in the most controversy, let me pan over, and I did win 1 game this way. The pyramids. If at any point in time you are able to build the pyramids, which takes either 12 unique resources or 12 coin, you automatically win. And you win immediately. It's over. And I've seen some folks that don't necessarily like that. But remember, I think I've even forgot to explain it earlier, you cannot hold resources from turn to turn. You can hold up to 2 coins. 2 coins can be held over from your prior turn. You cannot hold any of your goods and no more than 2 coins. So the first thing to watch out for is if somebody starts building a whole lot of temples with their cities, you know, you can calculate how much money they're bringing in. Sometimes people will bring coin out for trade. Doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. You got to watch those coin and where they're going, because if they can hit that 12 coin mark, they're going to immediately win. Same thing goes, all right, if they're collecting all those different resources and then you open it up in the market and you see somebody grabbing unique resources, you've got to be concerned that this is going to happen. It's something, this is probably the biggest surprise factor. But again, you can't hold on to resources. Now there's a few things, Hanging Gardens allows you to hold a couple resources over, just like you can hold coin. So there's some little tricks you can do with your wonders or your heroes that can allow you to maybe reach this. But I still like this. I know a couple people have said, I like it because the game is fluid. It usually runs about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And it's because you got some things like this. If someone gets a huge economic engine going and they're rolling in either money or coin and the rest of the players don't recognize it and go out and punch them in the face, this is going to happen. So you've got to, there's a lot of table talk. If you're playing it right, there's table talk and you're attacking the leader. That's all I'm going to say about this. Same thing goes, I mean, it's a little bit easier when your first one's 7, your second one's 8, and then 9. You got to be going, heck, he doesn't need 12. All he needs is 10 coins or 10 different goods and he can buy his 5th. All right, that to me is almost easier than this. But you're going to see someone building that power as they go. So those are your victory conditions. The thing is tight. Mechanics are easy, but the system has a lot of play within it. But hey, hand model, we're going to go into final thoughts with me in person, not just looking at my ugly hand.
All right, Mare Nostrum, a game set in the ancients. Usually not my thing. We've even done a ham tag episode, which is where I've got my wargamers and I, Judd and Greg, and we go do all kinds of stuff, World War II, blah, 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 but we did Ancients. I wish I'd played this before. This would be very high on the list. This is a tight, no more than I would say 2 hours, usually less, game involving Ancients, where you've got Rome and the Carthaginians and the Greeks. I mean, Hannibal's in there doing his thing, and Caesar's just ready to attack. And on top of that is
the rules give you this very right down the line formulaic system. Get your resources, go to market, build your stuff, move, battle, and then I feel like I'm forgetting anything, and then that's when you adjust your leadership track. And that's it. I mean, the first time you walk the folks through it, they're kind of like, okay, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. Then we go to market. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Then there's the move and battle. There's a little bit more going on if you win a battle because of the pillaging and the occupying and that, but that's nothing hard. That's okay. And the whole buying phase where you're buying the titles, okay. But once you've got that down and it's a wash and repeat, the game blossoms. It opens up because now you're playing the folks at the table. You're not playing the system. The system's definitely not playing you. It all makes perfect sense. It feels very ancient without going into this overly done Eurogame. And I'm not anti-Eurogame. Matter of fact, this has got a little bit of area control to it, but it doesn't even really feel like area control because it's also got some resource building engine stuff in it. Oh, that's cool. But then you got all these heroes and wonders that break those rules. So they're kind of like player powers but you already got one of those with your leader. And so that kind of, if you're Rome, you better be attacking. But if you're Greek, man, maybe you want to sit back and just build forts and defend. All that comes in. All that's there. And the complexity that's layered in with your heroes and wonders, phenomenal. And the idea that Academy Games says, hey, when you're learning, just flip over 5. And then when you buy one or someone buys those, you flip over a new one. So there's this limited amount that you're learning, and nobody can overly game the system and say, oh, I know that one's great. But as you become experts at the table, now you're like, hey, I've got, I can't even remember now. I've got Rome with Caesar, and I'm blanking on the guy, but when you take him, you get to knock out another unit right off the bat. A legion's gone. I'm forgetting his name. Or you got Nebuchadnezzar. Defensive +5 if you have control. Hello, Greeks. Or you're Caesar and you want to have some defensive area. Who's messing with you now? You can attack and you're great in defense. I mean, so there's those little things, the hanging gardens allowing you to hold on to some goods. I mean, I could go on and on, but the way those little tweaks come in mean the game's a little bit different when you're doing the 5. Now, I haven't played enough to flip them all over and know what to go for and play with all these folks, but I can see how that opens up as well. Now you're running kind of a strategy that you're able to think about and plan about right from the get-go. So it really allows that blossoming phase. Enjoyable. I had some guys over that don't play Ancients. And I said, you know what, I think you might like this. It's a little bit quicker on the setup. They love those little blinds that show you what to do. I handed those out and said, hey, you see that? Collect those. Then put these things on the board. The only thing that got a little confusing for them was my buildings I had, and then is that a token building on there? Is that just a regular map board on there? Here's where you are on this leaderboard. When you build some, it goes up. If we destroy something, it goes down. Oh, okay. Here's your player power. You start off with 1. This is what your guy or gal does. And then here's our 5. That takes the most time, but here's a card. It's running you through the turns. These little helper cards. Now, hold on. If you haven't played any Academy games, the UVA, the game aids he puts in there are phenomenal. I'm used to it. You pick them up, runs you through. It's not even a whole sheet. It's these little half sheets. But that's what he does. So I'm gushing. I love this. To talk just a little bit, I wasn't, I did an unboxing real quick, but I wanted to play this through a few times. My dog's even wanting because she wants it. So I even got in a 2-player game. And in the 2-player game, you bring in the barbarians, the hordes. And you just play with Rome and Carthage. And I can tell you in that, because you can each play with your gold, you can manipulate the barbarians and make them do your bidding. And you better not ignore the barbarians. And they start right on Rome's back door. So Rome needs to be paying attention to them right away. And it gets really tactical with those guys. And it worked. I like it with more. But it handled 3 well, 4 well, 5 well. I did not play the 6, but I talked to my buddy that played the 6. He said it handled the 6 great. They've got this 6 race called the, it's the whole Atlas thing, or Atlantis. No, Atlas. And it's kind of the city of Atlantis or something, the lost city. And I haven't played that, but there's another map board that comes on. Speaking of that, the map board, the way they sectioned off. I know I already kind of mentioned that in the deal, but I love that. It just, when I first got it, I thought, okay, never thought about laying the stuff on top and then sliding it over depending on how much of the map is open. Great. I'm going on too long. Love it, love it. If you want a Ancients war game with some Euro feel of resource management in there and different kind of player power tweaks that you get with the heroes and the wonders, but you want to go out and do some of that area control combat, not to mention 1 roll of dice and resolved. I mean, so you're not even stuck in this minutia of roll and fight, and anybody not involved in the fight's going, oh boy, this is boring. No, roll, done, resolve it, still at war, or you knock this guy out, he knocked you out, maybe you can now pillage, maybe you can occupy some stuff. Next. Great. I feel like I'm even forgetting something. Production quality. If you haven't played an Academy Games game, just know it's top quality. Everything they put out, from the boxes, the design, the boards, the pieces, are going to be at the high end. I've never had a poor production quality from them, and these are high end as well. So rest assured, as long as you like the things we're talking about, you're going to really enjoy this game. And it is decent with 2. I need to play it a few more times with 2. The guy I was playing, he had the ability to move and battle first, and he abdicated to me, and he missed that I could really get him with the barbarians, and I did. And from then he pretty much said, well, this is over. We didn't end it. We played it to the end, but it was over. So, but had he not missed that, I'm not sure which way it would have went. So I need to play some more of the 2-player only version, and I may try to get my wife to even play this. I didn't think I would be saying that when I started playing Ancients. I've rolled on too long. Bonding with board games, game it. See you guys, as Chief.